Okay, so we've been working on the guaranteed viable curriculum. I don't have a name for it yet, but the past couple weeks that we've used this, I've pretty much told you what to write, and then we've looked back at it. So what I'm doing now is, and make sure you get this board, please. What I'm doing now is I'm showing you that as a teacher what I see, and today I'm gonna model how we would fill this paper out, and then in the hopes of next week, you guys can start pointing things out and what to do, and then like in a few weeks or after Christmas break, I could just pull this up and then say, all right guys, fill this out, and then you guys could independently do it, and then someone could come up here and lead. This is what we put here in this box, all that, okay? So, starting out, I know we already have one done, but it says, what are we learning this week? What are we learning this week? Go ahead, Reagan.
Ratios involving complex fractions.
Okay, so we're on lesson 9, ratios involving complex fractions, and we just put that at the very, very top. You guys already have it, because we already did this before. I thought maybe I should videotape. Hey, okay? Okay, the next box is standard or learning intention. So that is our lesson objectives, okay? I am not gonna have you write every single one of these. I need good listeners. I'm not gonna have you write every single one of these, but I wanna try to come up with this together. So, looking over this, there's some things that we can abbreviate, okay? Compute unit rates involving ratios with a fraction in the denominator. Compute unit rates involving ratios with a fraction in the numerator. And compute unit rates involving ratios with a fraction in both numerator and denominator. So, what was the same with those three things? Okay,
Correct.
We're computing in all three. We're computing unit rates in all three. Keep going. We're all talking involving fractions. So then what's the difference? What was different?
One says denominator and the other one says numerator.
And the last one says?
Numerator and denominator.
Okay, so what could we do? So we're not writing compute unit rates over and over again. Peters? Peters?
You could just write the one that has both of them.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, so we're gonna write we're writing now. We're gonna write compute unit rates.
Compute unit rates.
Involving.
Involving. Very nice.
Ratios.
Ratios.
So I'm writing in this box right now, please.
Okay.
Compute unit rates involving ratios.
Words, what?
Involving fractions. Let's say in either or both. So we know it could be either the top or the bottom or just both. Compute unit rates involving ratios with a fraction in either / both the numerator and denominator. I'll say that again. Compute unit rates. So what I did is I read over all three. And then we came up with just like a summary, I guess, of how they were all pretty much saying the same thing, but a little bit specific. And so we're just gonna put one there. Compute unit rates involving ratios with a fraction in either or both the numerator or denominator. Are we good on that? Well, no, because we're still writing, but is there any like clarification? Okay. DOK. So going back to DOK, what does DOK mean? Hands up, please. The DOK. Where am I looking? What is it?
It's the depth of knowledge.
Depth of knowledge. Where do we look at for DOK?
Over there.
Perfect. So in here, in our learning intention, where it says computing unit rates involving ratios with either both, whatever, fractions, numerator, denominator. So one of my doing? What is that verb in our learning intention that says what I'm gonna be doing? What's it wanting me to do? Aubrey?
Compute unit rates.
Compute unit rates. So, compute, depth of knowledge. What does compute mean? That's kind of fancy. Compute. Compute.
It's not compute, calculate.
Calculate. Compute, calculate. Okay? So, would that be just basic computing, calculating, basic operations on a calculator? Sorry. Am I recalling, memorizing something?
Well, yeah.
My skill or my concept, level 2, apply, calculate, categorize, estimate. Am I strategically thinking,
Yeah.
or am I level 4 extended on something?
G.
Yeah, it's 2 because it's calculate. Now, there's ways if we put words to it that it can become a 3, but right now, just this very basic information, we're gonna make it a 2. All right, what box are we on? Where are we at?
Skill used.
Okay, skills used. I would say, okay, I'm videotaping right now, so I'm just gonna talk openly. I'm talking openly, Jessica and Giddings, okay? So, the purpose of videoing this is I'm trying to get you guys to be able to independently do this. So I'm modeling how I would want you to be able to do it in a few weeks. Right now, personally, Jessica and Giddings, not Miss Giddings, it says, skills used. Well, I haven't taught you that yet. So just talk to me. So, cause I'm sure like people will watch this. How would you guys know what skill is used? Cause right now, I would kind of have to hunt to maybe find things that told me what I would be doing, my skill. Hold on, I got a hand up. So like, it doesn't say anywhere, like, our learning intention is clearly our lesson objective, boom. When we get to the vocabulary box, boom. But how could you use this to help you figure out, or maybe guess or hint to what skills we would be using? Hands up, make sure you get this in, please.
Okay, so like, this is skills and then you look under.
Can you go up and point?
Yeah.
I just need you to be louder, and it's just because we're videotaping.
Okay, so I just look here.
Ow! I didn't see that. Okay, what I saw though, time out really quick. I see the word skills, I get it now. The prerequisites, those are things you should already know. But that's a good word for like a hint, sorry. So what do you think that we're gonna be doing if we're computing something? Like what skills do you see there?
Divide fractions.
Dividing fractions, anything else?
Find equivalent fractions. Write whole numbers as fractions.
Make sure she can hear me. Okay, say it one more time.
This is part of our lesson objectives.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Did you see? She said that's part of our lesson objective, what we're doing in 7th grade. So if this is what I'm supposed to be learning now, why is it saying I should already know it? So tell me if you see the difference here. They said you should already know how to compute unit rates involving ratios. Time out, that's what I'm learning. It says with whole numbers. You should come in already knowing how to do unit rates with whole numbers. What makes it 7th grade?
Is that you're gonna go with fractions.
Yeah, girl, is that you're gonna do it with fractions. Okay, so to do that, going back to what you said, that computing that unit rate, we are gonna be dividing. We're gonna be dividing.
So, skill used divided fractions.
And growing off of this, remember, I don't know, I'm kind of just free teaching. I didn't have a plan in mind right now with this. I know with equivalent fractions, like 1/2 is equivalent to 2/4. How did I know that? What did I do to go from 1/2 to 2/4? You can sit down. Thank you, baby. 1/2 to 2/4. How did I do that?
Multiply the top and bottom by 2.
Yeah, I also multiplied. So I would say right now, like if I was just guessing or maybe hinting or using what was given to me, I could say the skills used were multiplying and dividing. Dividing because it's there's the word, and then kind of hinted for multiplying. Awesome. And then I would just say later on, if you're like, oh, hey, we did another operation, I would go back and put that in there. Vocabulary, easy. Vocab.
Unit rates.
It's there.
Complex
Unit-
fractions.
Unit rates and complex fractions. And right now, we're just making a list We're not writing it down. We're just making the list, we're not writing it down. I scrolled down and there was nothing else underneath it. While we are making a list, I can tell you that I know other words that I'm gonna be saying, academic words that I would want you to know this week, and we're actually gonna go over it in a minute. Please add this to your list. So I know that it is not on here, but I know I'm gonna be using these words, academic words, and I want you to know what they are. So we are gonna talk about a ratio. Some of you might already know what that is. We're gonna be talking about a proportion. I'm gonna put a slash and say AL because I'm talking about proportion or proportional. Proportion or proportional. And then this isn't a vocab word, but like I said, it's an academic word and it does mean something in math. Just like sum. What does sum mean in math?
The answer of an addition
An
problem.
answer to an addition problem. So this word, you've heard it before, and it means do something, is the word per. Per. Miles per hour. P-E-R. Per. Okay? So we filled that out for our vocabulary. Okay, success criteria. Jocelyn Giddings here, again. I will tell you the success, so next week, when we start this on our own, think about it. We were only, what we would wanna do independently is I would show you this board, and there is about 4 boxes that I want you to fill out on your own with the title. So our goal eventually to do independently and lead you, know me, would be, what are we learning this week? Which we said was our what? Okay, our title, I'm getting ready to conclude too if you're still watching. And then the standard and the learning intention, our standard is here, which is just a number. I didn't really talk about it, but it's just that number that we can break down later. But basically our learning intention, we found, be loud, where do we find our learning intention at? Be loud. Where do we find our learning intention? Yeah, lesson objectives. Did you write all 3 things down?
No.
What did we do?
Summarize.
Yeah, we kind of summarized. We read over it, found that they were basically all saying the same thing, and then we changed some wording around to do a blanket statement over that, okay? The DOK level, we found the verb, out of the learning intention, compute, and we said that fell under kind of DOK 2, understanding that it could be bumped up in certain situations. Skills used, where do we look? The prereq skills, and then we kind of just pulled hints from there. Still working on that one. Vocabulary was obvious. We'll write it down later. And then here we did the other ones that I found it important to know. So that's what we could do independently. Success criteria would be, I can do this, I can do that, this is the next step, this is the next step. You can't do that yet because we haven't really got into the nitty gritty of it. We haven't got to what we're actually doing. We're just talking about what we're about to do. It's like a snapshot, okay? Misconceptions. Do we have any misconceptions right now? No. So we would just continually pull this out throughout the lesson and fill that out, okay? Bottom part, your parents say, come.